Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name's Scyushi and today I wanted to talk about the games that I'm highly anticipating for 2025. A lot of these are just going to end up being those AAA games that you may or may not have heard of, because frankly speaking, if I wanted to make a video talking about the indie games I'm excited for, we would be here all day. A lot of these games have release dates, but some of them don't. Let's start with Hyper Light Breaker. This is an indie game, but it's a high enough quality and caliber that I think it's worth talking about. It's supposed to be coming out in January, and this bad boy is basically a Zelda Breath of the Wild inspired roguelike that also has a bunch of co-op in it. I love the style, I love the animations, I love everything about it. It's also the same devs that made Hyper Light Drifter, so they know what they're doing. Also in January, we have Eternal Strands, which is a game that not many people know about, but I'm very excited for. This is like another AAA studio ripping off Zelda game, but it seems like it's really pushing into the elemental reaction stuff. The big thing that kind of sold me on it was the character using ice to freeze a giant's joints. I feel like we haven't really seen that much to do with the gameplay, and I know that the artistic style does look quite generic. It's kind of that same old cartoonish style that every AAA game has these days, but so help me, this looks like it's got enough mechanics that it's actually something different and new and fresh. Then come February, oh my god, this month is cracked. For starters, we got Assassin's Creed Shadows. And as much as people like to dog on Ubisoft, I actually really like Ubisoft and I like the Assassin's Creed games. I would have settled for Shadows if it came out broken. But the fact that they delayed the game from November last year into February of this year, we've started to see these companies that used to be god tier let things go to crap, and now they've kind of realized that their reputation is in the dumps, so they gotta start working harder. I'm hoping that's what's happening with Ubisoft and Shadows can truly shine amongst the rest, enough so that everyone can appreciate it. Either way, I'm sold on the game because it's open world Assassin's Creed in Japan. It's also got 2 characters, which is a little bit odd, but it is going to be adding co-op. So I'm really excited to see where they go with that. I hope that rather than a gimmicky mode, it's just open world co-op, because then that could be amazing. We've also got Avowed, like a couple days after Assassin's Creed. That game's gonna be on Game Pass. It's the Fallout New Vegas devs making their own Skyrim, essentially. I don't know. I'm not fully sold on the game if I'm being perfectly honest, but it is gonna be on Game Pass. However, I don't think I'm gonna have the time with Assassin's Creed Shadows and, more importantly, Monster Hunter Wilds. Monster Hunter is one of those games that I've always wanted to get into, and I did actually try World back in the day, and it just, I don't know, for whatever reason it didn't click. I found it to be really boring. And then on the polar opposite, for whatever reason, Wilds just really clicked with me. Most of all when I played the beta, just the idea of open world Monster Hunter is really, really cool to me. And apparently they've actually changed a lot of stuff from the beta, like monsters are a lot less tanky, which I think is great. In April, we got Mandragora, which is a 2D Souls-like game that I did cover on the channel, and I actually really, really enjoyed what I played. And then for the games that are just scheduled for 2025, we've got Crimson Desert, which is Black Desert developers making a solo game that apparently will have multiplayer down the line. They compared it to like GTA Online's multiplayer, so I don't know what the hell that means. We also got the new Nintendo Switch console, which I will 100% buy because I'm a biased Nintendo fan, and whatever shadow drops Nintendo does this year, because who knows if we're getting a new Mario or not. Most of all, I'm gonna buy that system for Metroid Prime 4, because so help me, I am a Metroid fan. Speaking of dead franchises that I'm a fan of, Turok is coming back with Turok Origins. If I'm being perfectly honest, that game looks really, really bad, but it is being made by Saber, which is the same devs that made Space Marine, and I loved Space Marine. The thing that I'm worried about the most with Turok Origins, yep, I saved it, is I really hope that they don't just go Turok Dinosaur Hunter. Turok is not just Native American fighting dinosaurs. It is Native American fighting aliens and alien dinosaurs that are like cybernetically augmented and whatever else. And that's what I really hope they're secretly hiding in Turok Origins, because so help me, I want to fight the Primogen. I want to fight the like alien hive mind and stuff. I want to fight more than just a stupid T-Rex. Also, I don't know if it's coming in 2025, but Kyora I have to talk about because this is essentially Terraria 2. I know that Terraria has had a long time to cook, but the thing that I appreciate about the Core Keeper developers is that there's actually RPG elements to it. So I would expect in Kyora we'll actually have classes and leveling. There was also the untitled game by the same developer who made Shadow of the Colossus and what have you. I don't think that's coming in 2025, but I am anticipating it. Oh, and we've also got Elden Ring Nightreign, which, yes, I am sold on that premise. It's basically a weird three-player roguelike, as far as I can tell. What limited info the website says about this game is that you essentially are going to be dropped into this big world where a fog is slowly rolling in over the course of 3 in-game days that slowly forces you to the center where you'll end up fighting the big boy boss. And so you're tasked with like completing all of these little side objectives to hopefully get yourself stronger and geared up so that you can end up fighting the boss in the middle. Essentially, I think that Nightreign is going to end up adding what was missing from Elden Ring, which is a really good game loop and replayability. Because as much as I loved Elden Ring, it got tiresome having to go all the way through the game just to get to New Game Plus, just because I wanted to play Godric's Castle at the beginning again. And then also, I can't talk about Assassin's Creed Shadows without talking about Ghosts of Yotei, which is Ghost of Tsushima's sequel. And Ghost of Tsushima is one of my favorite games, so you bet your ass I'm excited for Yotei. I do actually think that it's really interesting and cool that they jumped like 300 years and we're not following Jin Sakai's story anymore. I think it's a great way that they can have the whole slate cleaned and just start from scratch and give us some new surprises. I'm expecting to see the combat be a lot more visceral. Please give me a Zelda glider, for the love of God. But then I'm also really curious to see if we're gonna have some sort of multiplayer right out of the gate, because Ghost of Tsushima actually did have a pretty competent multiplayer mode, but it was a weird PvE, like almost wave defense mode that was a lot of fun, but also very forgettable at the same time. And I'm craving an open world co-op game. Then we've also obviously got GTA 6, which so help me, that's gonna be the game of the year if Rockstar doesn't muck it up. Being fully transparent with you guys, I think that a lot of AAA studios are kind of in the dumps with like the games that they make. Like look at Blizzard, they're a joke. Rockstar, I don't think is any exception. However, rather than stay on the side of skepticism, I'm going to allow myself to get excited as hell for GTA 6, and I am expecting them to put out a game better than GTA 5. I will not be surprised if it comes out and it sucks and it's broken and busted and barely runs at like steady frame rate and all that stuff. I am very disappointed that it's not going to be launching on PC day one because those developers are idiots. I'm also very, very worried that the PS5 Pro is going to be required to run the game at steady frames because I'm not getting a PS5 Pro, so help me. I'm also curious how long it's going to take them to add the multiplayer to the game, because that, in my opinion, was the funnest part about GTA. Like, we have a lot of open world games, but not true sandbox experiences. I just hope that they can end up capturing that again in GTA 6 while also getting rid of their dated mechanics. Like, so help me, fix the shooting, make it modern. I hate how slow and stupid the shooting is in Rockstar's games. Then, of course, speaking of shooting, we have Doom Dark Ages, which the Doom devs have been going off the rails with every iteration. Doom 2016, absolute banger, return to the franchise. Doom Eternal, absolute banger, makes Doom 2016 look like crap. Doom Dark Ages, what the developers said in this one is rather than the verticality, they wanted to explore the horizontal plane. So they played the old school Doom games from front to back with all the developers so that they can get a better idea of how to recapture that for a modern game. And what they realized is in old Doom, you had a lot of slow moving projectiles that you would weave around while fighting the enemies. That has me really excited. Please, God, bring back co-op to Doom. That's the best part of old school Doom. Let's also not forget with the new Nintendo console that we do have the new Pokemon game coming out, and I would not be surprised if it's going to be a launch title or close to it. There's also Little Nightmares 3, which is being made by a different studio than Little Nightmares 1 and 2 because the original studio is making a game called ReAnimal. I think both of those games are coming out this year, and so help me, I'm excited for both of them. Most of all, ReAnimal. Soulframe maybe comes out this year. Honestly, I don't know, but I'm not like, oh my god, I'm so excited for this. It's more like yeah, I'll play that. It's basically the new Warframe game, which looks like it's a more emphasis on a slower combat system that's more methodical and, well, a Souls-like. There's also State of Decay 3. I might play that. I don't know. It really depends the mechanics and how the co-op works. If you haven't played State of Decay, they're actually insanely immersive, like open world zombie survival games. We've also got Subnautica 2, which I really hope has more than 2-player co-op. If it's only 2-player co-op, I probably won't play it, but I don't know, it depends. I think Earthblade, which is by the Celeste team, was supposed to be coming out this year, which is an RPG, and that game looked god tier. But again, I don't know if it's coming out this year. Same with Witcher 4, which I'm not as 100% sold on Witcher 4, if I'm being honest. A couple years back when they ended up announcing all the different Silent Hill games, there was also Silent Hill F, which is supposed to be a new Silent Hill game. That was scheduled for 2025, I think. It probably won't come out in 2025, but so help me, I'm down for a new Silent Hill. And while I will talk about the Snake Eater remake, I'm not actually really excited for this. My brother was super into the Metal Gear games. I was super into the Splinter Cell games, which Ubisoft is still supposed to be working on those Splinter Cell remakes, and I really hope that we hear some news about it sometime this year. Speaking of games that are in the dark, I want to see more about Light No Fire. Please give me a release date for Light No Fire. Stupidest title for any video game, but it's No Man's Sky's new game that is basically a medieval game on a singular planet, and it's an RPG with dungeons and stuff. As much as I like No Man's Sky, I like medieval stuff more, and I also like fighting things more than I do crafting, which there's too much crafting in No Man's Sky in my opinion. We're also supposed to be getting a bunch of Capcom remakes like Golden Axe and Jet Set Radio and stuff, so I don't know what's happening with those. Same with Project Dragon Sword is all it's called. You won't see anything about it online, but it's essentially a new Dragon's Nest game. If you guys never played that, it was a really good free-to-play MMO back in the day. Quite pay to win, but it had a really solid PvP because the combat was action combat, and it was a good one. Basically think Genshin Impact, but more of an MMO than a single-player game pretending that it has co-op, and also way better combat. It's also not a gacha game. I also don't know if Perfect Dark, like the new one, is coming out in 2025. That one I'm actually really interested in because I played the old Perfect Dark and also the other worse Perfect Dark games. This new Perfect Dark actually looks really good though. I also really hope that we finally hear some news about Hytale. That's another game that has been slowly on the back burner. I'm excited for it. I'm waiting for it patiently, but are we gonna hear anything about it? I don't know. They keep on making stupid, useless blog posts where they basically just go, hey, we're still here. We're still working on the game. We're still converting it into the new game engine. For those of you that don't know what happened with Hytale and why it's been taking so long, they got bought up by Riot Games, and Riot Games basically saw that they were making the game on Java, and they said, no, you're gonna create a game engine so that this game can launch on consoles and not run like ass. And that's why the game has been delayed for so long, because creating a new game engine from scratch is a process that takes years, because that's literally the core mechanics of what makes the game. And to move from something that they already had established on Java and start from scratch, yeah, that's pretty insane. The funny thing is, in their blog posts, they keep talking about the various content creators that are covering Hytale, even though Hytale's not out yet, and their blog posts are always worthless and saying the same thing over and over. Perhaps even more exciting than Hytale is the fact that Minecraft creator Notch announced he's working on a new game that's gonna be a spiritual successor to Minecraft. I honestly think it's pathetic that we haven't gotten a single game to try and compete with Minecraft over the decades. Like, it's so easy for a AAA studio to swoop in and make a AAA version of Minecraft. But these senile dinosaurs in charge of these companies are just so out of the loop, they have no idea what Minecraft is. The lack of competition is so bad, you still have people waiting on Hytale, myself included. But while the original meme was GTA 6 will release before Hytale, I think the next big meme is will Notch's game release before Hytale. Anyways, there's a lot of other games that I'm excited for, mostly indie games that I don't really feel is appropriate for this video just because of how long this already is. But I would appreciate hearing you guys in the comments telling me about your anticipated games. There is a lot of other like AAA games coming out next year, but those are all the big ones for me that I'm like personally excited about and will definitely play on the channel. The thing is, if I'm being perfectly honest, I think Assassin's Creed and Monster Hunter Wilds are gonna be the last big games that I'll be able to play, and then from that point on I'm probably gonna have to severely slow down those 100-hour games and kind of split them across multiple months on the channel rather than just trying to play them all at once, because I'm gonna be a dad in March. It's not that I won't end up playing a lot of these games, it's just something new to me that I'm going to have to really reevaluate and determine like how much time I can dedicate to each of these games, that kind of thing. Like if Ghost of Yotei ends up releasing too close to GTA 6, I might have to wait on Yotei to play GTA.